Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Adam22, and I'm back with another news video. I just want to say we dropped a ton of dope interviews over on the No Jumper channel. We did most of them on live stream the other day. We had Lana Rhodes on, who's like #1 porn girl in the world right now, more or less. We also had Selena Powell on, and she just exposed so many rappers. I've seen some news outlets starting to report on some of the trash that she was talking, but I really don't feel like they've fully gotten in depth about how insane some of the stuff that she was describing was, and it seems like she's largely telling the truth too. And then the other one that we have that went live was Lil Xan. Lil Xan did a good interview where he talks about the whole pregnancy thing, the miscarriage, all that stuff. He talks about all that, and it was pretty crazy, and he's already posted photos with his ex-girlfriend again, so apparently it wasn't too serious. But anyway, go check out those interviews, and let's get right into the news. So our first story is about one of the greatest rappers of all time, as far as I'm concerned, UGK. They mean the world to me. That's actually why I've chosen to put this Pimp C book here by Julia Beverly, and it's actually a reminder to myself as well that I'm less than halfway through this book. I kind of tapped out around 300 pages, but it's super good, super entertaining. I need to find some time in my life to finish reading this book instead of watching Game of Thrones, which, by the way, by the time you see this, I'm going to be fully caught up on Game of Thrones, which is honestly kind of an amazing feeling because this has been a while that I've been working on getting caught up. Anyway, Bun B, catch this storyline. He's at his house. His wife's there with him. She goes to answer the door. It's like 5:50 p.m. So she's not thinking about anything. She thinks that this is just some guy who's like doing a delivery, whatever, and it's a robber. He points a gun at her and he basically tells her, like, give me everything you got. She offers up her Audi that is in the garage. So the guy seems happy with that. He's about to take the Audi, but then what happens? Bun B comes downstairs with his gun out and gets into a shootout with the dude, and the dude takes off running. He got hit, but he takes off running, and he leaves his gun there. So apparently this guy doesn't seem like he was too official, too professional with what he was trying to do, but then they actually caught the guy because a couple hours later he went to the hospital, which is, you know, if you're going to get into a shootout with Bun B, you probably shouldn't go to the hospital with a gunshot wound like right afterwards. It's pretty stupid. Anyway, I'm assuming Bun B's wife is a little bit shook up. I'm assuming he's at least slightly shook up, but at least all's well that ends well. So, man, what a crazy story. Leave Bun B alone. We are out here protecting Bun B. He does not deserve this. Next story. Okay, so next story. YG, he made a splash at Coachella when he performed his new single. It's called Stop Snitching, and he actually put up images of 6ix9ine, Skinny from the Nine, Whitey Bulger, just to show that he knows about him too. Just representing all these different snitches up on the big screen, basically just calling them out, and the lyrics of the song basically revolve around that. So he put out a video today, and I was, of course, thinking like, oh man, is he going to go in even harder on 6ix9ine? Well, he went on a completely different angle with this new video where he's basically like representing a bunch of slaves turning against their master. It's actually a really, really dope video, and the song's pretty dope too. I can see the song being pretty big for him, so you guys are definitely gonna want to go check that out regardless. Next story. So the next story, one of the weirdest and most inconsequential beefs that I could possibly imagine is this new one between Lil Nas Ex and Dave East. Now, Dave East came out and said that he does not like Old Town Road, which is, you know, kind of a rare opinion at this point because it seems like everybody, even the people who have no reason to like this song, still have to admit that it's a catchy-ass song. I mean, 3 weeks on #1, that can't be wrong, right? Well, anyway, they asked Lil Nas Ex how he feels about Dave East having that opinion, and he said, I believe the quote is, I honestly have gotten this question so many times. It's like, I have the #1 song in the country. I do not give a F what Dave East is saying. So, I mean, that's a pretty obvious quote, right? Like, obviously, he shouldn't care about what Dave East is saying. Well, Dave East has actually come out and given his statement. Actually, check out this video that we found via the Shade Room where Dave East gives more of his thoughts on Lil Nas X.
Then y'all gonna ask the little he think about what I say. He ain't supposed to give a about what I say. I don't give a what nobody say. He answered right.
I couldn't even get mad at Lil. That's a kid.
He doing his thing, man. Bad song.
So yeah, it seems like this is the way that these conversations always carry out, where, you know, a rapper is out, a new hot rapper, and then you have a rapper who's part of more of the old guard, and he takes offense, he's not a fan, and then ultimately it all comes back to the fact that, like, hey, I might not like the song, but I respect that you're a dude doing his thing. I gotta respect that. So, like, for us as the fans, we get to sort of watch this little, like, beef, and it's a real beef, it's a real argument, but it's like, ultimately, we know where it's gonna end up. It's like, you can't get mad mad at Lil Nas Ex because he made a meme song, right? You can't really get mad at them, even if you're Dave East and you maybe think that you're too good to make a song like that. And that's okay, but you still can't really hold it against them. And everybody knows that going into it. So what do we get as a result? A whole bunch of promo for both of them. Probably not much else. Next story. The word stan has been added to the dictionary. I feel like I've been reading stories about this for a while, about how this was supposed to happen, but it seems that it's finally actually happened. So basically, everybody remembers a million years ago when Eminem came out and he introduced us to the word stan, but he wasn't using it as a word. He was just using it as a name. He had this fictitious story about a fan named Stan who was, basically stalking him and everything like that. So Eminem does get some credit, but we also have to credit Nas, because Nas, when he dissed Jay-Z, he said, I don't remember exactly what the lyrics was, but it was, you a fake, a pussy, a phony, a stan. That was the first time that somebody used it as a description of a crazy fan, not the name of a specific crazy fan. So we do have to give Nas partial credit for this. Anyway, you got to just remember that when you hear somebody going out there and they're talking about a stan account, which is just a normal terminology at this point for like a fan account, or you hear somebody saying, "Oh, I'm a Game of Thrones stan," or I stan water. It all comes from Nas. It all comes from Eminem to an extent. It really comes from Nas. Nas is the first person who used it in that way. Probably nobody would be using it in that way now if it wasn't for Nas and his influence. Basically, I guess what I'm saying, hip-hop continues to influence and change the world, have a complete and total control over popular slang and everything like that. And this is just another reminder of how common that terminology has now become. Okay, next story. 21 Savage has been keeping a relatively low profile since he was arrested. He had that whole big thing with ICE that really took over the internet for a few days, and then everybody seems like they kind of forgot about it. Well, anyway, the Shade Room, they posted up a video clip of 21 Savage sort of singing along to a song, and this woman, Doze, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce her Instagram name, but she said, "He reminds me of a Simpsons character, but I can't remember which one." So presumably she's talking about Sideshow Bob here. If we put 21 and Sideshow Bob side by side, we can see that there is a tiny bit of resemblance. Well, anyway, 21 clapped back. He said, "Aunty looking casket ready with all that surgery, walking around looking like you drink embalming fluid." So we should actually do a little bit of a review of the Instagram right here of the woman that he was talking about, who, to her credit, she does have almost 5 million followers, and she actually posted up an artist rendition that you can check out right here of her and 21 Savage, and she wrote, "I'm sorry I said you remind me of a Simpsons character. You look nothing like any of them. Let's cheer with some fine embalming fluid and get casket ready. Hashtag your favorite auntie. Thanks so-and-so for getting us Simpsonized." And you can take a look at her, and I guess you can see how she probably has had a little bit of work done on her face. The lips don't look too natural. The cheeks might have had a little bit of injections in the cheeks. I hate that I have a girlfriend and now I know all about what girls are actually doing to their faces, because she's kind of tapped in. Otherwise, I would just look at this girl and think that that's how she actually looked. But she probably has had a little bit of work done. We're slowly turning into the Shade Room here. Clapback season, whatever. Next story. Okay, speaking of DJ Paul is trying to get paid. If you don't know who DJ Paul is like one of the OGs from 3 6 Mafia. He basically started the whole thing. I interviewed him back in the day, actually, if you want to watch a good chat between me and DJ Paul. Well, anyway, DJ Paul is coming for Travis Scott. That's right. Apparently on the Travis Scott album, Astroworld, there's a song called No Bystanders, and there's a chorus that says, fuck the club up, over and over and over. And for everybody out there who's listened to even a little bit of 3 6 Mafia, you know that one of their biggest songs, and a song that they made mad versions of, they made a lot of different versions of the song, but the chorus is tear the club up. Well, apparently Travis Scott did not think that he had to pay to use what was basically a hook that was completely taken from a classic 3 6 Mafia song, and now DJ Paul is saying that he needs $20 million, which seems fair to me. I'm going to be honest, I only listened to Astroworld once, so I didn't really get a whole lot out of it personally, but $20 million. And we are receiving reports that Travis is actually working on figuring this out. But I think it's pretty obvious that some cash needs to change hands here, if we're being completely honest. Next story, Soulja Boy, he got robbed bad, and they're saying it was some people he knows. Some of you who are really tapped in on the internet might have seen this video that's been going around. We'll show it up here without the sound. It's basically just a bunch of dudes from the hood in LA, and they're just talking about the fact that they took Soulja Boy's shit. They logged into his Instagram, they went on live, and they're just talking about the fact that they ran up in his crib and took everything he's got. Apparently that actually is what's happened now. The cops have done their full investigation, and they've figured out that basically it had to have been an inside job. You see, Soulja Boy lives in kind of a secluded area, and apparently they were only in his house for like less than 5 minutes. So it was a total inside job. They knew exactly where they were going. They ran up in his crib, they took the money, they took the jewelry, they took whatever the hell they wanted, and then they were out real fast. So it's kind of a shame, because Soulja Boy is someone who has always seemed pretty open-minded in terms of just letting people stay with him, just having a lot of people over his house. Myself personally, nobody's ever been to my house besides my girlfriend, myself, a bunch of different hoes, so I guess that was kind of bad. But then also, you know, even my friends, like my employees maybe have been over my house like once, like some of my fucking employees, but most of my friends have never even been over my house. Like if you're somebody like Soulja Boy and you got a house with a big ass safe, a bunch of jewelry, a bunch of money, don't be letting nobody come to your house, right? Like, if anything, go get a hotel room, have a little turn up in the hotel, but don't let people over your crib, because shit like this is gonna just keep happening, and it is just bad news, bad for business. No. So Soulja Boy, you should probably know better at this point. But also, you know, these other dudes, like if Soulja Boy's gonna let you in his house, maybe don't rob him. But then on the other hand, you know, it's just kind of how shit's supposed to go. They're supposed to rob you. You know, if you're rich and you just let a bunch of random people over your house, eventually one of them's gonna rob you. So yeah. Next story. Okay, I'm gonna have to request that you guys go out and observe something that I saw. Juice WRLD and Chance the Rapper having a freestyle session together in the studio. I do believe that Chris Long of the No Jumper Empire was actually in attendance for this. I'm not sure if he actually filmed it with a real camera, but there's plenty of iPhone footage that's going around that basically just shows like one of the reigning champions of Chicago hip hop, along with Juice WRLD, the new hot kid making Chicago hip hop, quote unquote. They're in the studio and they're just jamming out, freestyling together. It's just got a crazy vibe. It's definitely the kind of thing that you're gonna want to see. It's also, there's some clips up on the No Jumper Instagram right now. A whole bunch of people filmed it, but yeah, you're definitely gonna want to go see that, especially if you're a fan of Chicago rap as a whole. Next story, and this is actually gonna be our last story. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this controversial tweet that went up. So first off, you know who Gary Owen is? He's a actor, comedian, etc. He tweeted this out: if Portland's coach could say the N-word, that was the perfect time. This N-word just hit that shit. Wow. So this is confusing. Basically, you know, he's watching some sort of sporting event, and that's what he wants to get across, is that he feels like the coach should be able to say this N-word just hit that shit. Let me explain something. Basically, there's going to be a lot of different times in your life as a white person who's famous and involved with black culture in some way, which I suppose Gary Owen fits into that, where you're going to want to make a joke, or you're going to want to quote something. You're going to want to basically do something where really it's not going to sound right unless you use the N-word. And like, this would be a good example where Gary Owen clearly just wanted to say that Portland's coach should just say this N-word just hit that shit. But it's awkward, it's clunky. The fact that you have to basically like analyze the fact that you aren't allowed to say it and he's not allowed to say it, and it just sounds so stupid. It's like the same thing that happens to me all the time, where I'll hear a rap lyric and be so hitting, and I want to quote that rap lyric on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. I just want to put that as the caption, but then as I go to type it out, I realize it has the N-word in it. It's like, damn, I'm gonna sound really stupid if I use that as a caption, because I can't say that, and it's just gonna sound stupid. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put a bunch of asterisks, edit it out. Nah, unless it's like a famous rap lyric where you have to quote it, you have to draw attention to it, and in that case, you could maybe throw some asterisks in there. Then maybe it's acceptable. But for the most part, like this is just such a stupid tweet. It's just really, just looks ridiculous. That's my opinion. But anyway, I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Do you think that this tweet was a bad idea, or do you think that maybe everybody's being a little bit too sensitive? I would like to hear your opinions. Anyway, that is the news for today. Please smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and again, head on over to the No Jumper channel where you can watch all those interviews that I did over the course of the past week. And also, you can become a member of the channel now, the No Jumper channel. You click that join button, you send us $5 a month, and then we're just happy as hay. That's all I got to say. Anyway, everybody who enjoy this, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Rope Gang shit. Drop a comment down below, and we out.